All right, and it looks like we're live. Welcome, everyone.
Welcome, everyone. It's great to see you today. I'm Lorenzo. I'm in charge of Whalebone Peacemaker sales and business developer. And today I'm here with Adam, our technical consultant, and with Bill, which is one of our customers. He is the owner of a company in Scotland. And today, Bill and Adam will have a talk about ISP DNS security and why it is important to have a solution like the one we provide. Also, from my side, before leaving the floor to Adam and to Bill, I want to mention that it is important to have something like that because more than 80% of all malware out there still need DNS resolution at one point of their life cycle. And that from our experience, at least 50% of the devices inside the network of an ISP sooner or later will experience some kind of issues. So it is important to be protected and to be always ready. The webinar structure is quite straightforward. Bill and Adam will have a talk. It will take roughly 20 minutes, half an hour. And at the end, there will be space for any of your questions. Anyway, feel free to use the chat box to write down any questions you might have or to interact with us. We will be happy to talk to you and to know you more. So from my side, it's all. It's just a brief introduction, and now we'll let Adam talk.
All right, Lorenzo, thank you for the intro. Bill, can you please turn on your mic and camera so we can hear and see you? Perfect. I thought you were hiding for a moment there. Yeah.
I didn't want to scare people, so yeah. Hello.
Right, so brief introduction about Bill. He came into cooperation with us a few months ago. The name of his company is Měrka. Yeah, welcome. First, Bill, question for you. What made you actually start looking for a solution that would protect your customers?
Okay. Well, the first thing was we run a medium to large size wireless internet service provider in rural Scotland. Okay, so we've got about 800 customers, 400 square miles, 1,200 radios, about 800, 900 routers, and so on and so on. So as you well know, running a WISP or even an ISP, if DNS doesn't work, then it's broken. If PPP doesn't work, it's broken, and if radius doesn't work, it's broken. But if DNS doesn't work, it's broken, and if DNS takes a long time, then the customers think it's broken as well. So initially, we just used MikroTik DNS servers on our routers to basically push DNS through, and that works reasonably well. But I also contract for a living to very, very large companies and government. And one of the things I was used to within very large customers and government was a filtered malware DNS feed. And that means within these government departments and large companies, I don't get DNS entries for known malware command and control servers. Okay, so if I caught some malware internally, A, it wouldn't activate, and B, the help desk could then say, aha, you have this malware on your machine. Now, it's not going to catch everything, obviously, but it was a really useful line of defense, especially within the large companies and governments I worked in. And I thought, well, I would like to do that with my customers because my customers are rural, older folks with zero IT expertise, and some of their machines are just breeding grounds for malware. Okay, they're just appalling. And we didn't get a lot of support calls about it, but I thought, well, for a few €100 a quarter, then why don't I provide them with a, filtered malware DNS feed? And then, of course, I found Whalebone. And that was point number one. Point number two is we're able to put very, very small high-performance servers into the field. So at the other end of our fairly slow wireless links, we could add an Intel NUC, for instance, running Ubuntu, and we can put one of Whalebone's resolvers onto there as well. That gives us a massive speed increase in terms of DNS resolution for our customers. So filter malware, better DNS, more controllable DNS for sure. Now, we did try the DNS filtering for various categories very early on, but it didn't really kind of work out for us. So we didn't use that, but that is a feature that Whalebone do as well. And you're, of course, more than happy to have a crack at that. We didn't. But right now we've got malware filtering, we've got good DNS, we've got 800 customers. We've been running for a year or two, maybe 3, I don't know. So yeah, we're really happy with it. It's one less thing for us to worry about, because running a WISP, running a wireless internet service provider, is all about just constant pain. It's like someone continually kicking you in the head, for instance, every day. And well, okay, we don't have that with the DNS, which is great. So it's one less thing to worry about. So, for a few $100 every quarter, I'm really happy with the service. I'm a Scotsman. I don't like spending money. Yeah. So, pretty good. The only support thing I had with Whalebone was asking for the UK bank details, so I don't have to spend £20 on international transfers. That's how Scottish I am. Anyway.
I felt like I had to stop you there for a while.
Well, yeah, sorry.
But thanks for the intro. And of course, the one thing that you as an ISP have to deal with is being blamed for all the stuff that is not even eventually your mistake, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, TVs, washing machines. We support them all. Apparently, we don't. We don't want to.
Have you ever had an instance like that with one of your customers, where you were blamed by them for the internet not working, where in reality it was an infected machine on their end? Yeah,
we've seen lots of infected machines. There was one elderly lady who literally had maybe 400 pixels in the middle of her screen left after all the malware toolbars had been installed. So yeah, it's pretty commonplace out there in the field with, somebody's granny, somebody's mother. They're not IT experts. So it's just another part of the service. I mean, we installed it, and it's great.
One thing I personally like about Whalebone is that it leaves the user experience uninterrupted, or it doesn't even let them know that there's some protection running. So have you noticed any callbacks from your customers regarding the service, or do they even not notice?
Most of them don't notice. We've got a couple of business customers. They tend not to notice. We haven't really told them this is happening. I mean, maybe we should, but again, nobody's really complained. So yeah, we're really happy with it.
And have you thought about utilizing Whalebone as a marketing tool to let your customers know that there is this kind of protection for them available and that they're using it?
Yes, I mean, certainly we're doing a big expansion to fiber, as everyone is, and that will be one of our, pluses, against people like BT Open Reach here in the UK or any other big providers who are going to offer far better support, far better service, and filter malware.
Mm-hmm. Are you thinking about having it as an extra feature, or will it be a part of the core service?
Oh no, we just roll it out to everybody. I mean, I can't see us charging an extra $1 or $2 or whatever per user for this, because people will always say, "Oh, we don't need that," because they're Scottish too, right? They don't like spending money.
Right. Every market is different.
Well, I mean, if you offer people a choice, they'll tend to go, if they don't know what they're doing, and they'll go for the cheapest, and the cheapest is often not what you want to sell them. Yeah. So you've got to sort of curate your product to a certain extent and go, well, we're going to build all this in,
Yeah. Right. And about these Intel NUCs, what was the driver decision behind that?
Well, you see, we don't have a data center. We have a shed. We have lots of steel boxes bolted on top of farm buildings out in the open, in the rain, being snowed on and that sort of stuff. And we have routers and things and switches in there. And the Intel NUC is maybe 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters, maybe 4 centimeters, with a chunky power supply, but it's very, very small, very reliable, and they fit inside these external cabinets. I mean, it's as simple as that, really. They're just a throwaway, well, not quite throwaway, they're not that cheap. I mean, Raspberry Pis would be cheaper, hint, hint, but I mean, Intel NUCs give us a really fast service, which is good.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. And with these deployments, we were able to make the DNS distributed and make it closer to the customers, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We like the DNS as close to the customer as we can, but we don't want to roll it out to 100 antenna towers. But certainly we've got it deep within our network over some of the slower links. So the DNS performance is great.
Glad to hear that. But that's also one of our pitches that it actually is.
I mean, as I say, we could run it on Microtech. We just had no control. And when it went wrong, we didn't know what happened. And of course, Microtech doesn't filter, doesn't give you stats, doesn't give you this, doesn't give you that. We could look at the stats on Whalebone all day long, and we don't. And get some really interesting information. We don't. We tend to look at malware now and again and see if our business customers are having problems, but that'll be about it. But the stats are fantastic.
Yeah, that was actually what my next question was going to be. If you are using the data for some,
not as much as we could, but hey,
investigation.
No, we trust the product. It's really good.
Thanks.
The uptime on one of my Intel NUC servers was 300 days. So
That's solid.
Yeah, one less thing to worry about, right? That's the idea.
Yeah. We just had a webinar with a Czech ISP who has about 60,000 subscribers about two hours ago.
Yeah.
And what they mentioned is that they've seen quite a rapid decrease of public IP blacklisting.
Yeah,
absolutely. Have you experienced that as well in the year that you've been with us?
Oh, a year or two. Not specifically, no. We still have the occasional spammer. And we would just go around and beat them up with a stick. But we don't have that much blacklisting. We couldn't really compare it against anything else. We're kind of rolling out more of every single user gets their own IP address, to be quite honest. And as soon as we get IPv6 working, everyone's been saying that for 30 years, then great, everyone can have their own /56 address range. Fine.
Right. So it's NAT64 so far for the whole network?
Everyone is source netted, yeah, but I mean, we're looking at clusters of 15, 20, 30 people at a time, just so if one person messes around with an address, then it doesn't blow up 800 people. That would be really bad. Yeah. So yeah, we try and spread the load.
Right, that's smart. Do you also do some consultancy that to your end customers, like helping them with the infected machines and stuff like that?
No. They think we look after every single device in their house. We don't. We occasionally get dragged into sort of fixing machines, but generally speaking, we point them at local suppliers and say, look, these guys can do a lot. Yeah, they've got time, they've got a shop, they know what they're doing. We don't. So, there's like 3 of us looking after 800 users. And there's not really the bandwidth to do PC consultancy as well. Right. I mean, some of our bigger customers in castles, for instance, we do a lot of Wi-Fi work within the building, but that tends to be a sort of project work. But yeah, generally speaking, everyone's reasonably happy, I think. They're still our customers, so I guess they are. Again, Scottish, they're not backward and coming forward. If there's a problem, we tend to know about it pretty quickly. They're not English.
Straightforward in there,
yeah?
Right, so my next question was actually going to be if you ever use the data from Whalebone to reach out to these customers and tell them that.
Occasionally we look at the malware stuff and point out to our bigger business customers like, you have a real problem here. We're blocking this for you, but I think it's happened a few times. But it's not something we routinely do. But yeah, we can and we should really. That's the important point. We've got the data now. That's the important thing.
Maybe a question from another topic regarding the government regulatory requirements from the government. We've recently implemented that for the UK because there's the Block 451, I think, which is based on the illegal content hosting and sharing. How was that experience for you?
Seamless. We didn't actually notice you doing it because we didn't read the emails. But yeah, it happened. I guess we're compliant. Sorry, we kind of rely and trust you guys a lot. Maybe too much. I don't know. We should really read the emails, shouldn't we? But yeah, there's very little effect. Some of our users who are interested in adult entertainment and stuff, they kind of know how to install their own DNS resolver at Google or whatever. So they would tend to do that. But generally speaking, most of the customers don't.
We can never cover the entire user base since there are always ways to they can bypass it.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing as motivated as a hormonal teenage boy looking for porn, right? And there's no force in this earth that can stop that process. That's how the whole IT industry was born, for God's sake. So that's what kind of horror. And this is why I wouldn't personally or company-wise get into child protection, i.e., kiddie filtering and that sort of stuff. We always say to the customer as well, you do that yourself, because guaranteed, if we said, we guarantee that your child will never see porn, then that would last maybe 10 seconds. So I don't think anyone's product would be good enough to again prevent hormonal teenage boys. So yeah.
I'm not really familiar with how strict your government is with these regulations, but here in the Czech Republic, it's in the kind of a best effort mode. So you do what you can or what is in your power to block that. And we, of course, support that and make that as easy for you as possible.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, again, they're more interested in the big 4 or 5 big ISPs who deal with millions of people. And they've been really kind of more strict with those guys. Well, those guys have money and people and stuff to deal with that. The smaller guys, there's not a lot they can do.
Was there a case in the UK about an ISP not being compliant with these regulations?
I don't know, but then I'm kind of busy with my day job, so I'm not the best. I don't know. I don't think so. No, I don't remember one, but I'm not the best source.
It seems like we have a question from the audience. How is the known malware server data gathered at your end? What exactly do you mean by that, David?
It's not. It's not gathered at our end. Basically, you guys filter out the DNS addresses, and then you give us stats on which DNS addresses are being activated by which of our clients. So we get graphs, basically. So we don't see the malware DNS entries at all, which is good. Or I don't think we do. Does that answer the question, David? Maybe if you showed him a graph, that would really clarify what he's after, I think. This is more a Whalebone question. What's the source of their IPs? So how do you guys apply the malware filtering, I think is what he's asking.
Well, it's quite simple. You define either public or private IP ranges that you own in your network, and then you're able to select various policies for various subnets.
Yeah, but I think he's asking you how you guys filter the malware DNSs out of the feed, how Whalebone does it. Yeah. What mechanism do you have?
Right. Well, the threat intelligence is quite complex, and I'm not the best person to ask. But we have about 60 different sources. Some of them are public, some of them are open source. Our own threat intelligence team does their research. This all gets fed into an algorithm. There are neural networks running on top of that, which are constantly evaluating the precision and the scoring of these domains that we get from all these feeds. And we compare that with the indicators that we gather from other feeds, for example, from Twitter, or we're also a part of the MISP threat intelligence sharing community.
Cool.
We do not block the IPs, only the domains. So we work on the domain reputation level. Yeah. And then the actual filtration works by substituting the IP that is returned to the client with some static IP where we're hosting some sinkhole, and with that we inform the user that they have attempted to resolve a malicious domain or a domain which the administrator has blocked for some reason, or which is
and of course I can override that sinkhole address with my ISP address if I wanted to, so that they get my ISP name instead of Whalebone if they wanted. So that's a nice feature that, again, we haven't implemented. I'm sorry, we just rely on your sinkhole. But I think what you're saying in summary is it's a really complex process, and it's not something you want to try at home, right? Building these malware exclusion lists.
No, I mean, it is definitely possible. The problem is that if you do it in a DIY style, you might end up with a lot of false positives and misinterpretations and inaccurate data. So that's the stuff that the work that we put in for you, the extra stuff is the constant reevaluation and scoring on a minute-by-minute basis. So that we do not break the resolution of the legitimate normal domains for the users.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody were to feed in a bad address into one of these malware lists, for instance, like the White House or something, then presumably that would be caught and not published as malware, for instance. Yeah. To use that as an example. So what you're saying is you take all these lists and you add a whole bunch of quality on top of it so that obvious false positives aren't propagated. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a constant struggle. I mean, we have indicators about new domains every day.
Yeah.
And we need to also still keep evaluating the ones that have been in the database for 3 years, 2 years, and check if there is still that malicious activity for which we're blocking it.
And let's not pretend this is going to solve all your problems, because, of course, malware command and control servers do move around. Okay, so it might take you a few hours, maybe a day or so, to get them on your list, right? So it's not 100%. Let's not pretend it's going to be 100%. But generally speaking, by the time it gets out the population, it's been around for a while. Yeah. So you are going to, block a lot. Yeah.
When we were talking earlier, Bill, before the webinar, I asked you what the reasons were for you to deploy this kind of filtration for your user base, and I kind of liked your answer. So, could you repeat it for the audience?
Oh, it was the one less thing to worry about, really. I mean, that's the primary driver, and the secondary driver is I don't want my customers to have malware. So, was that the answer you're looking for? Sorry.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
But the thing that stuck with me from Monday was that why wouldn't you do this?
Yeah, sorry. I mean, I did make that statement, and I stand by that statement. Why wouldn't you do this? Yeah, I mean, as I say, for a few hundred every quarter or something, it's not even a percentage point of our turnover, and yet it provides us with a better service. So again, why wouldn't you do this? It just seems like a really obvious thing to do, And if people want to spend more money with you, there's lots of opportunities to do that. Absolutely, yeah. But I would certainly recommend the basic service to start with and see how they get on.
Yeah,
especially with a Raspberry Pi version of a resolver, that'd be really good.
Right. We'll talk to the development team and have the images for ARM for next year.
Yeah, but I mean, most ISPs, they're going to have big lumps of tin in data centers, lots of VMware machines or equivalent Proxmox or whatever. They're going to just run big Ubuntu servers running lots of these DNS servers. So, sticking in a Pi is just really a wireless internet service provider thing, really, because we're just weird. Okay, so.
But I actually like this DIY approach.
Yeah, you don't want to live it, It's like driving a forklift. It's great for an hour. It's not great for a lifetime,
True. I don't think that we have any other topics on our plate.
Yes, we're cheap.
We
yes,
whisked
we're cheap. Yeah, I mean, because when you start out, there is no money. I mean, I did it on the basis of a drunken bet I made in a pub. So yeah, I mean, people get into this thing for all the wrong reasons, believe me. Mostly because your damn internet at home doesn't work too well. I'm installing a 10 gig pipe in the next 4 months to my house. Finally.
Right.
Yeah, in Britain, that's a big thing in Britain, because Britain's run on pieces of wet string, and it's horrible. But yeah, we're cheap.
Maybe one more question regarding the fact that there's no money in this business. Have you ever thought about leveraging this as an upsell tool to tell your customers that, hey, we're providing this cybersecurity for you? And did you ever consider having that as a separate product or as a marketing differentiator?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we talked about it briefly earlier, but yeah, I mean, we're getting into a marketing battle with some of the bigger boys. And we need to highlight the things that we're good at, and that is local support, and in this case, malware DNS filtering, and so on and so forth, for better response. Usually when you call our office, you actually get to talk to an engineer. Those sort of things. But again, malware filtering it's a really good differentiator. Mm-hmm. I don't know if the big guys are doing it, or if they are. I don't know if they're telling anyone, but I like it.
We on the webinar, which was 2 hours ago, we talked to one of our customers who actually utilized that. And since the prices of inputs raised significantly, they were actually forced to do it. and it was a really good tool for them to apologize to their customers for the price increase. So they took this route of bundling something extra for the customer.
I like that. I'm going to steal that idea. That's a good one. I like it because we haven't raised our prices in 5 years, and all the costs that went up. Let's not mess around here. We're all broke.
Yeah,
it's not good. But lying, nah. I don't know if it's lying. Marketing. That is, we like a bit of honesty.
Although I have to warn you, what he said that if he was about to go, if he was to do it all over again, he would choose a different approach. But,
I was going to do this all over again. I'd do something different as well. Yeah, I'm you can see by the bags under my eyes how hard work this is. I just like hard work. It doesn't pay well. But yeah. But hey, if you're going to do it, you might as well do it well, right?
Mm-hmm. I noticed some other question. Has the daily workload of the NOC raised compared to the traditional DNS, or is it the same or more or less?
We don't have a NOC as such. We just got like 2 engineers and me and a help desk. So, we're not a big operation, obviously. What we found was we didn't have MikroTik DNS servers crapping out on us all the time. So yeah, we had less faults and less issues to deal with because that particular piece of MikroTik software on the version 6 stream early on was quite flaky, which is odd for MikroTik, but it happens. So yeah, I mean, we've certainly had less faults, a bit more stability. So yeah, it has reduced our faults raised and our network operation command, if you like, a bit. If we're a bigger operation, I think it would have a much bigger impact.
Do you think you can give an estimate of how much work it saved you?
Wow.
Or is that too ambitious
to have a really good
calculate?
ticketing system and like note down all the tickets and then assign them properly and then break them down afterwards. And that's kind of like been the next year's project for the last 10 years. So I wouldn't like to give you a figure, but I'm guessing, a few months of engineering time over the last 5 or 6 years, well, the last 2 or 3 years at least. So not quite a full-time engineer, maybe a 10th of a full-time engineer. But remember, we're a small operation. A bigger operation would have a requirement for bigger DNS servers and much more management. And of course, we don't have any of that. So I'm not a great example for that question, I'm sorry. And again, cheap. So.
Oh, I mean, honest answers are always appreciated.
Well,
even though it's not what the person who asked wanted.
Yeah, it's just easier being honest,
True.
But honest, that was a good question. Yeah. Potential customers are worried that all this blocking will create an overall. I haven't seen that in 2 years, to be quite honest, or however long I've been running the product. I'm going to look that up. I haven't seen any tickets raised as to why you're blocking this thing. I think the blocking is pretty good. In various previous places in big organizations and governments, the blocking was quite brutal. And then say one day we did lose, the White House or whatever, we haven't seen that. Is it good that the load remains the same? I don't know what you mean by load there, Panos. Do you mean the DNS resolution time or the number of DNS queries, or I'm not sure. I mean, load of engineers is slightly diminished, I would say, definitely, yeah. Ticket load, yeah. Well, we haven't seen many, if any, tickets that I recall of people being accidentally blocked badly. I think maybe 1 or 2, maybe, last couple of years. It's not been crazy, believe me. I wouldn't be here if it was.
I mean, it's good to hear that our threat intelligence works as it should.
Yeah, and we were dealing with 800 customers, where each customer is a household of up to 3 or 4 people, or a business with 20 people, and so on and so on. So maybe we've got 2,000 or 3,000, maybe 4,000 actual users. So it's quite a varied user base. It's business people, foreign people, kids, all that sort of stuff. So I guess our load is pretty representative in the amount of DNS queries we're doing, and I guess we haven't seen a lot of blocking where we didn't want it. So yeah, reasonably happy. As happy as I get.
No, I mean, it's great to hear all this.
Well, that's my experience, okay? I mean, yours might be different, but I don't think so. And also support-wise, you guys are really good. If we accidentally if we email you guys, then generally speaking, we get a good response fairly quickly. So I'm reasonably happy the support is there.
Yeah, I mean, we do have
just
our
haven't had to use it.
so.
We just haven't had to use it, to be quite honest. We just literally install the responders, get on the website, plug it in. There we are.
So it was kind of a set it and forget it mode for you. Is that correct?
Certainly from our point of view, yeah. We've got so many other things to worry about, believe me.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, we're really happy with it. That's why I was happy to come on and say, I'm really happy about it because I'm lazy and it works for us. So yeah.
Yeah, the classic programmer mentality like that.
Well, yeah, I just need to stop working 24 hours a day. It's just crazy stuff. But if you run a WISP, that's what you signed up for. Duh.
Right. Any other questions are welcome. Maybe Lorenzo, is there anything that you have from the business side?
Not from the business side. I have just one question for Bill. As you're providing connectivity to your community, I guess, do you think it was like a push from your side to choose Whalebone to provide a better connection and a safer connection to the people you know and the people you are familiar with?
Yeah, I mean, I've been on calls with my engineers, with me, and seeing customers with malware and going, this really sucks. And then having a day job with somebody big going, oh, this doesn't suck. And speaking to the network guys, well, how do you do this? Oh, we filter DNS. Oh, that makes sense. And then, of course, I went searching for you guys and found you. Thought, oh, I'll have some of that. Thank you. So yeah, one nice thing to worry about. I don't know. Did I compare a whole bunch of things in the market? There was, I think, something called Open DNS, and that will provide you with a degree of filtering on a freeware basis. And I think I ran it personally in my house for a couple of days, and it was okay, but I didn't have anyone to shout at if it went wrong. Right. And that's the nice thing about giving you guys some money. At least I can shout at you guys now and again if it does go wrong. People think running a WISP is all about doing it as cheaply as possible, but you need support. And I'm willing to pay for support, and that's why I give you guys money. Yeah. Whereas OpenDNS, maybe it's a wonderful product. I don't know. Didn't feel that happy, supporty feeling.
And it's still your resolver, and you can configure it however you want. You can break it if you want.
Absolutely, yeah. We broke it a few times, don't worry. Well, this is a question for you guys. Do you have 24-hour support?
Not at the moment, we don't. Currently, it's in the check 9 to 5 working hours.
So it's like 7 to 4-ish here, yeah.
There is usually somebody online, even at night. So
crazy o'clock, yeah. I mean, let's not get too preoccupied with 24/7 support. If it's 3 o'clock in the morning and Whalebone isn't doing what I think it will do, then I'll just redirect DNS to something else and wait for the morning. Yeah, it's not the end of the world. Yeah, I like it. I rely on it. I pay money for it. But I've not had this the thing where you guys haven't answered my question. I've not had the thing in 280 days of that individual responder having any problems. So I don't anticipate the need for 24/7. But worst case, I just bypass the server, use normal DNS, and get back to you guys in the morning. It's not a problem. So from a risk point of view, which is where network admin, good name, I like his name. So he's coming from a risk point of view going, if it all goes pear-shaped, where does that leave my ass? Yeah. And the bottom line is you just redirect DNS, get back in the morning and see how you get on. Or pay the guys a lot of money for 24/7 support. I'm sure they'll take your money. Absolutely, I would. But would I use that as an excuse not to buy the product? No, absolutely not. If that helps. I don't know if that helps. Am I being too Scottish here? Sorry.
I honestly cannot tell. I value the honesty. I haven't come into contact with many Scotsmen before.
Wow, that's a shame. Just lots of whiskey. Sorry, network admin, does that answer your question? Are you happy with that answer? Sorry. Sometimes I come across as being really, glib.
I mean, it was a simple yes or no question. I think we've added more context.
Okay, yeah. I was just concerned about the background of the question, which is the risk element, which is the bit he's worried about, obviously. Because being a network admin is like not only having your customers kick you in the backside or the head every day, it's having your bosses stab you in the back as well. It's quite a pointy experience. So risk is a big thing. I get that.
Right. Unless there are any more questions, I think we're good to wrap it up. What do you think, Lorenzo?
Yeah, let's wait if the audience has some additional questions, because we are happy to talk with them and to interact.
Well, you guys said an hour, so you know. I'm just looking back at the question to see what the best question was. Bill is upside down. I like that. I didn't understand how I managed to do that, but yeah. But I think the best question was really them asking how you filter malware that you read. So that was the best technical question. Yeah.
Okay.
If there are no more questions, we will be very happy if you would give us your feedback on this webinar. We will collect it on a special website. Lorenzo, can you share the slide?
Yes.
With the feedback
Just
form?
1 second.
Okay. One thing I'm very conscious of, when we said Intel NUC, NUC, it stands for Next Unit of Computing. So if you look up NUC or Next Unit of Computing or media centers, those are the little 10 centimeter by 10 centimeter by 4 centimeter. So a Mac Mini, but smaller sized, but they're normally coming about £200 or £300, maybe 300 euros. And those are the guys that we're using. Just very conscious that I didn't give everyone a complete answer on that one. Right.
Right. I would like to thank you all for attending. We value the time that you decided to give us and listen to Bill and us having a chat about why it's important to have DNS security for your network.
Yep, really helped us.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Lorenzo.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Bill, for joining.
I'm just laughing at the user with the test name. Great.
That's funny. Okay. See you all next year on the next webinar. Bye.
Absolutely. Catch you guys later. Thanks.
Thank you.